All right, it's 3 p.m. here in Denmark, and it's time to get started with the Mirrix launch webinar. I can see that a lot of people are still joining the call, so I'll just give a minute for people to get started or to join. So we will get started in very shortly. All right. Let us begin and welcome everyone to this launch webinar for Mirrix, the new DAM experience for STEP developed by Unit of Measure. I've been looking very much forward to this day. We've been working on Mirrix for quite some time, and yeah, it's great to be finally able to present it to the world, at least the world of STEP, where I believe most of the visitors today are already coming from. And let me just get started by mentioning a little bit about myself and Unit of Measure. I'm Martin Kjeldsen. I'm the founder of Unit of Measure. My history with STEP or Stibo Systems goes back to 1993 when I joined and became part of the first group of consultants that implemented the first early versions of STEP, and I've been working with STEP ever since. I left Stibo in 2013 and became a freelance consultant, and then a few years later in 21 I launched Unit of Measure. So yeah, personally I live in Skanderborg, Denmark, not too far away from the Stibo headquarters, and in my company Unit of Measure, we are you could say a Stibo Systems implementation partner. We specialize in the implementation, developments and support of the STEP platform, and we only focus on this platform. That means everything we do is related to STEP. We are based here in Denmark, and we have a subsidiary in India. For the last 3 years, we have obtained a AAA credit rating from Dun & Bradstreet, and yeah, we have we decided probably a couple of years ago that we wanted to develop our own add-on application for STEP, and after a few prototypes and some field studies, we decided to go for a digital asset management module, which is now what we call Mirrix. So let's start by discussing a little bit about why we saw a need for developing a DAM add-on for STEP. One of the great things about the STEP platform, I believe, is the STEP web UI. That you can use to design a user interface for all the almost unlimited data models that you can build with the STEP platform. It's so flexible, and you can create so many different things. And the STEP web UI is really powerful and great for modeling, a user interface without even being able to code, for all these different use cases that you can build. But of course, because it's a general purpose user interface tool, it's not you can say up to par with dedicated digital asset management platforms if we compare what's out in the market. So I see that has been one one issue, or is one issue, as I see it. In other cases, what I've seen is also that many organizations have put a label on the STEP platform. They implement it as a PIM or as an MDM tool, and somehow I have at least experienced that in some organizations, some people there would say, well, it's a PIM, not a DAM, and we handle that in a different way with different processes, which has nothing to do with the STEP platform as such, but more like a positioning thing or like a perception thing in the organization. Then there's the point about findability. I have, I have overseen and participated in many STEP projects over the years, and it has, in most cases, not been a high priority to make digital assets highly findable in the STEP system. They have, of course, images and documents have been there in almost all cases that I've been involved with, but it has, there has not been a big use case for trying to make it easier for people to find and work with the digital assets as such. And therefore, there has not been much focus put on making the assets, the digital assets findable, adding metadata, classify them in logical ways, and so on. And therefore, the digital assets often end up living kind of their own lives and only come to life when you actually link them to your products. And for that reason, I think maybe also the perception of how you use your STEP system as a DAM, it has simply not been part of the implementation scope in many cases. When you do the linking between assets and products, I believe also that in the current solution, it could be improved. There are, if you don't know the exact name or the exact ID of the asset you want to tie to your product, you can do some browsing. But if you have thousands and thousands of assets to choose from and not sure exactly where they're sitting in STEP, that can be a challenge also. So, and then finally, the point that I've seen by talking to a lot of Stibo customers over the last couple of years, at least, is that I've seen a tendency for Stibo customers to choose to implement a standalone DAM and then implement or integrate that with the STEP system. And well, that costs money in licenses, in implementation costs. You add complexity, you have files suddenly different places, you need to exchange those still with the STEP system. You have two systems that you need to, to have governance for, and and surely also other types of overhead. And for that reason, we believe that, well, DAM belongs in STEP, as is also one of the headlines for this webinar. We believe that STEP already has so many great things as a data management platform. It's not just a PIM, it's not just an MDM tool. It's a platform that offers so many great things to, where you can model so many different things, and there are so many ways that you can work with the objects that you have in STEP. And that's not just for the products or customer records, but also for the digital assets that you store in STEP. So this slide sort of highlights all the great things at the bottom where you have STEP with everything that, not an exhaustive list, but some of the great things that you have, like the business rules, the data modeling, the workflows, hierarchies, and endpoints, and so on and so forth. There's so many things that are really a great starting point for building any kind of application, I would say. So we saw an opportunity to say, well, let's leverage STEP and let's build a new user experience with new features and an interface that is DAM-centric on top of the STEP platform. We don't want to create a separate system. We don't want to replace the web UI. And by the way, that is not the purpose. We want to offer a new user interface, an application that is designed specifically for users who work with digital assets, whether they produce them or consume them. And that's how we have designed Mirrix to sit on top of STEP, and querying STEP in real time to get the latest information. However, with a layer using a MongoDB, I mean, like a cached layer in between to fetch some of the thumbnails, some of the key information to serve search results faster to users. But all the updates that we do is done in STEP. We don't want to store any meaningful data about our digital assets in our Mirrix layer. We want to write everything back to STEP, so we enrich the STEP system and the data that we have in STEP with everything that we create in the Mirrix application. That's kind of the main design principle. And our vision with Mirrix is not just to have a nice user interface. What we see as a vision with Mirrix is to optimize the digital asset value chain. And if you think about it, when we implement a STEP system where we have, let's say, products, in most cases, front and center of the scope, we do all we can to optimize the product information value chain. We track the product from it's created and goes through all the different life cycles and enrichment phases to produce the final approved product that we share on our website or with partners and other stakeholders that are interested in our product information. So with Mirrix, we are saying, well, let's do the same for the digital assets in our ecosphere. Let's use STEP and Mirrix to heighten the way that we look at digital assets and optimize the digital asset value chain. And that is done on both by looking at upstream processes like create, edit, and collaborate around the assets, but also on the downstream sides where we share and consume the assets. So if you look at this from the helicopter view, this is where you see the value chain for assets, where we have on the left-hand side, we have all the different parties and processes that contribute to creating and acquiring all the digital assets that we have in our system. And on the right-hand side, the downstream processes, we have all the different areas and roles and stakeholders that are consuming the digital assets, and of course also our product information and other objects that we manage in the STEP system. But in this overview, we have Mirrix sitting on top of STEP, and we want to optimize all the processes that we have in this value chain. So let's look at some of the different roles that we see could really benefit from Mirrix. So I'll try to go through this quite quickly, but we have the marketing managers that are responsible for the branding. How do our products and branding look in the material that we send out in sales collateral on our website? Responsible for campaigns and provisioning all the different materials that we want to share with our customers and with the world as such. So a marketing manager would really cares about how do we make sure that we have the highest quality? How do we create the fastest processes, optimize the processes for how we create the different collaterals and products that come out of this department. And oftentimes helping the marketing managers is our graphic designers. Maybe it's an agency, but it could also be in-house. And based on some of the requests that we heard from showing early prototypes of Mirrix, we talked to several Stibo customers that mentioned it would be really nice if we could make it easy for our graphic designers to edit images in Photoshop, as an example. So they could just open an image directly in Photoshop and save it straight back to STEP. The process currently is that you have to download the image from STEP if that's where you have your original digital asset. Do the edits in Photoshop, save your edited image, and upload it back to STEP. That's really unless you have some kind of customized workflow, that's really how that works if you are using the web UI. With Mirrix, we have now built an integration where you can open, for instance, in Illustrator or in Adobe Photoshop, do your edits, save it back, and you can save the changes directly back to STEP. Product managers, of course, are a key type of user for STEP, and they are responsible for the products. And of course, do we have all the details? Do we have all the linked files? With Mirrix, we want to offer them a way where they can explore the different assets that they have available to them in an easier way. We also wanted to make it easier for them to connect images and products. So of course their main work will still be in the web UI, and we will also show sort of a bit of a small demo where the product manager is working in the web UI, but will sort of peek into the Mirrix application. We have suppliers who wants to supply us with their latest digital files, typically images, but it could also be supporting documents that we need to connect and provide to our website or partners. With Mirrix, well, you can set up a user for your supplier and give him an access that only has the exact limited features that he needs, so he can just upload. He can maybe see his own files, and that's it. And he can come and go as he wants with when he has material ready for your organization. But if you look at some of the downstream consumers, of course, we have the sales organization who wants to have the latest information, or the latest files, the latest presentations, or product images, or sales brochures, and so on. And with Mirrix, we can offer like a portal, a media bank, call it what you want, where internal people can log on and fetch this. And of course, because we care so much about the findability, the ease of search and use, you don't need to be like a super trained user. I think it should be so that most people will be able to go and find what they're looking for with just searching what they believe is logical to them. And another variant of this is, of course, the customer service, who is servicing customers that are calling in and asking about, okay, how does this work? How does that work? And with a portal where the customer service people can log on and find the latest information, and let's say manuals and so on. Well, that would be a good use case for them as well. And then, of course, sometimes in some cases, you also want to give access to your customers or dealers. It could be a retail customer, where if you are like a wholesaler or a manufacturer, and you want to, again, just like with the suppliers, just with the with the arrow pointing the other way, where you want to share a specific set of files with a specific retailer, you could create like a collection or a folder with those digital files, and you can give them access to just that part, and with only the features in the application that are relevant to that person and retailer, and they could download what they need. I also put in a compliance manager. There could be other titles, but people that are working mainly with documents in the organization, where I see also a big potential for using your STEP system to host declaration of performance documents, test reports, and other types of legal documents, or other types of documents that are produced and maintained by separate departments in the organization. And what I've seen often is that these kind of documents tends to be living in somewhere in a SharePoint folder, maybe in a separate system that was created long ago, but I think there's a big potential in many organizations to say, why don't we use the STEP platform for this, and let's use Mirrix to help us make the documents more findable, give the access on a more user-friendly way, because they're not necessarily heavy users of STEP as such. They just maybe want to upload and maybe download and share this specific type of documents. And finally, I just want to mention also the solution owner, the STEP solution owners, who is interested in servicing the organization with great features, make the use of STEP as prominent in the organization as possible, and sharing, or you can say, make increasing the value in the organization of the STEP application. And with Mirrix, you can very quickly provide an add-on that, based on all the roles that we have discussed here, can get value relatively quickly and with an easy-to-use interface. And also, if we look at the comparisons with the third-party DAMs, well, as I mentioned earlier, well, now you can worry about just one platform, which is STEP. With Mirrix as you say an add-on, but that doesn't require a lot of specific upkeep compared to having a separate enterprise level DAM system running in parallel. All right. I want to give you now a short tour of Mirrix, and I just I will do that now, and then I will just share my screen. Just a moment. All right. So when we launch Mirrix, what we start when we log in is simply to see the images that we have. They are simply presented to you, and typically, or the default setting would be that what we are seeing are the latest assets that have been uploaded. And of course, that's not necessarily relevant for all users, and of course, it also depends on what privileges you have. Now, of course, I'm an admin. I can see everything, but when we log on, we want to make sure that the user can get started really quickly. So what we have done is we have added my searches, which is searches that you can save. We have added those to the left-hand side as an easy-to-use way of getting started. So if we have, as a user, if I have certain searches that I like to do, well, I can very easily click here in the left-hand side and access those images. So that is like one way of getting started. It could also be that we want to use collections. So these collections are those that we know from STEP. So the collection that you have created in STEP will be synchronized to Mirrix with whatever is in there of digital files. Of course, we are focusing on the digital files collections, and then you can use collections also as a search criteria to see what's inside and get started with these. And as you know, collections can be dynamic; they can update based on the search criteria that is behind the search in collections. We can also access folders that we know from STEP, and also the products that we can review the products that we have in STEP. And we also have the ability to integrate to our workflows. So this looks very much, if you're familiar with STEP Web UI, this looks very much like a workflow widget where you can go in and you can click on the tasks that are in the different states, and you can get started working with your digital files that way. Let me try to do a search. I'll just do a search for BMW, and you can see, well, okay, I now get a search result which is which contains all those files that are related to BMW. But let me try to do a more specific search. So what I have searched for here, the BMW 1136 and so on, that is a SKU number. I mean, of course, a fictional SKU number. And the point I want to make about this is the reason why I am seeing this asset when I search for this SKU number. It's not because I have this SKU number managed as metadata as such, but because this is linked to a product for this BMW M3. There you see I have some information here that is fetched from the product, including the SKU, and therefore I am seeing this particular asset in my search, simply because of the linkage between product and asset in this case. But apart from that, what you see here is the asset detail page that we have. We can click to see a bigger version of the image. You can see we have the options to edit. We have some, I'll show that a little bit later. And we have a lot of the information that you know from STEP about the assets. We have some user maintained attributes. In this case, we have some usage rights data that we can maintain here in Mirrix. And what you see down here are data that has been generated by AI, by AI vision that has described the image for us. So we have a nice description. We have text in the image. If you notice that we had some text up here, well, that has been indexed also, and it's providing us a lot of keywords and descriptions that are really helpful. We also have alt texts that we can provide to our website, which is by now actually mandatory if you are selling products and services in the EU. All right, so this is just a small, let me just go back, and so this was just a small, you can say, introduction to the Mirrix interface. There's of course more to it than that, but what I want to do next is try to show a small video that shows some of the use cases that we have. And well, we'll see a supplier that uploads some files. We'll see a marketing person that evaluates and does some simple edits to the images. So yeah, whether that's the graphic editor or the marketing, it's kind of combined in this use case. We'll see a product manager that actually works in STEP and just visits Mirrix, and we'll see a retail customer accessing and downloading the digital assets. And I just want to mention, you've seen probably some toys. We have our own fictional toy manufacturer slash wholesaler slash retailer, Bambino Toys, that we are working with with our data. And yeah, that's just the sample company that we are using here. So let me just fire up the video here, and I'll comment on this. So let's start by showing a supplier that is logging into Mirrix with his own login. If you notice the user interface, there's very little that the user can click. There's just the upload tab as an example. And now the supplier will drag and drop a batch of images, selects an upload profile, and he has the option of adding a description to the batch, which will be stored against the images. That helps us track the images. We also have the option of adding some tags. Again, helps with findability and helps with figuring out, okay, what is this about? And I mean, AI vision is great, but of course, if we have a little bit of human help, that helps a lot. So the upload now begins, and I've put a slide on top of this video just to show a couple of the things that happen, because it's not just an upload that happens now. Apart from the files getting uploaded to STEP, we're also running the AI vision in real time as part of the upload. We are registering the files in a duplication checking a database. We are also running it through. We're also registering the product for use for product recommendations, so we can enable or facilitate the use of the way that it is, which products and files that belong together. Also classification and tagging. And now the files have uploaded, and the supplier can log out. He has done his thing now. So let's have a look at the use case where the marketing manager inspects one of the new images that have come in. One little feature that we have added is a Google image search, where you can click the thumbnail of the image, and you can actually go out and see, okay, does this image exist anywhere online? Or what kind of other images exist out there in the marketplace? Maybe a little competition check, or check on what are the price levels, or there could be many applications for this. Or you can really inspect the image to make sure that it has the required quality and level of detail that you are looking for. And what we'll do in this case here is that we will use our integration to AI image generation. We have some pre-generated standard prompts that you can use, but you can also, of course, enter your own prompt. In this case, we are using Gemini 2.5 flash image, also known as Nano Banana, which is a very hyped image model that came out only a few weeks ago. We are integrating to that already, and you see what we have the option to do now is to see the before and after, and save our AI generated image based on our core image, and we can give it a name, we can tag it, and we can save it and upload it to STEP as a new image. And this way, even people without great image editing skills can actually create something. And of course, it's up to you whether you want to use AI generated images, but the technique, the technology is just improving day by day. And here we have the the new image. You can see already fully indexed with images. With the AI visioned tags and so on. The case we have here is another case where the Supplier has sent us an image that was just taken from the storeroom. So we open this in Canva, click the remove background button, and you see it has actually removed the background very, very well in this case. In this use case, we also try to add a background. So I just gave an instruction to add like a Scottish landscape and the castle in the background, and that fits really well for our Scottish cousin Teddy McCuddles here. And we can see the before and after, and we can decide whether we want to keep it or whether we want to, save and overwrite the original image, or whether we want to save this as a new image. So in these two examples, we've seen how you could use AI directly to generate image content based on our images, or we can go to Canva. Of course, with Canva, you can do all other kinds of image editing things. And a third option that, as I mentioned, would also be to open the image in Photoshop, where the same interaction applies, where you can do everything you need to do in Photoshop and save it back in the same way here. So yeah, we have the AI generated metadata in place for the Scottish teddy bear as well. So let's jump to the product manager. So he does most of his work in web UI and which you see here, and he goes into a workflow task and he finds the new product, and he can see that, okay, we have this primary image linked, and of course it now is joined with the main product record, and maybe the product manager needs to do some refinements, adding some dimensions as an example. So this is all completely standard step stuff, nothing new about that as such. But when he inspects the referenced assets, you see, then we have the new assets that got uploaded from the supplier. And what you'll notice now we still step, but you notice this link that we have here allows the product manager to jump to Mirrix. So now we have opened the same asset in Mirrix. So here we have the option of exposing additional information, and of course the product manager can use Mirrix the way he wants. He could review all the supplier's images, and there's a button where he can, or a link where he can jump back to step, and he can complete his task. So there we have, just try to show the the end-to-end process for the product and the images being combined. And what you see here is actually a Shopify store that we built for Bambino Toys, where we can then show the final destination, at least for in this demo case, where our image has ended up in our e-commerce website. And and we can add it to the cart if we want that. So that cycle has ended. But let's finish this demo session with our dealer who logs on with his logon, where he has access to the images that we want to share with him. He does a search for the specific images that he's looking for. We're looking for this teddy bear cuddles series, and maybe our holiday campaign image. He can choose which format and resolution of the image he wants to download, and they are downloading now to a zip file with whatever images he chose. We can just unzip them, and we can just verify that they are there, and we can just increase the size a little bit. And there we have the images. Good. Let's jump back to the slides. So what Mirrix brings? Well, we extend STEP into supporting more sophisticated DAM workflows. Mirrix greatly improves the findability of digital assets by offering you can say an out-of-the-box indexing using AI vision. Of course, you can do that in STEP, but with Mirrix, you get it out of the box, and you also have the nice interface to make it even more easy for non-STEP users to find what they need, and also for STEP users, I would say. We optimize the digital asset value chain, and we want to continue doing that with Mirrix. We want to elevate the importance of digital assets in the STEP system and make them what's known as a first-class citizen, just like our product data is or our customer records. We want to make the digital assets in STEP, really, get the place in the organization as it deserves. And we believe that it benefits a wide range of different roles and personas across the organization. So we should also talk about implementation, because with Mirrix, there's a lot of things that you get out of the box. We have already defined, you could say, a predefined data model for what we believe are meaningful attributes that you can use in almost any organization. We have defined business rules and integrations to AI tools that we could tweak them. We could tweak the prompts, but we already have the setup that you can use straight out of the box in terms of getting the AI vision and the classification, tagging, and all this. The implementation time, if you look at this, and when the time to value of implementing Mirrix compared to an enterprise level DAM system where you're starting from scratch, it can't even be compared. I think you could get up and running with Mirrix in a matter of a few weeks. If we are just talking about the vanilla integration, then of course you could always make it more sophisticated with your own data model for assets. But in many cases, many customers don't have, or many STEP organizations don't necessarily have a sophisticated data model just for assets. So by applying what we already have, you can get really far within a matter of weeks, is my my claim. And that you get value from day one, because we populate the data and we take your existing pool of digital assets and we enrich them and we make them more accessible to the organization. So what's next on the roadmap? Well, we have, as I mentioned, we talked about the product recommendation engine and the duplication checker. We have built the backend, and I didn't show it in the demo because we still need the front end, which is just on its way, being released within the next few weeks, and that it will be part of the standard upload workflow. Then we have a tool for exploring tags that we create. When we create tags, we don't just create an attribute value. We actually model a tag structure where we have parent-child relationships and links between different tags with synonyms. We have translations, all these things. And we are now also building a tool where you can actually visually explore in a dynamic map all the different tags that you have and learn more about your data in a new intuitive way. We're also working on enhancing our analytics to make it more to give you more data about what is actually flowing through your system in terms of workflows, uploaded images, and so on. Some of the things that we'd love to do with Mirrix is to again look into the upstream processes like marketing campaigns, versioning images, that we could make available directly with Mirrix, with a close tie with STEP platform. It's not something that we are working on right now. We are looking for customers who wants to help us develop these and provide the you can say, help provide the specifications to make sure that we have a good fit for real life use cases. Another example is CDN features, where we have spoken to several STEP customers that really want to use or are already using CDN features for their assets. So that's more on the downstream side. But I see that Mirrix could be part of that as part of our vision to optimize the whole digital asset value chain. And finally, I want to mention a print-on-demand portal, which where we could make use of of STEP's PDF creation capabilities, and with the front end in Mirrix, where we could make it easy for people to do a self-served on-demand creation of collateral, marketing collateral. Okay, we're coming towards the end. Time is running out, and I just want to say that, well, you might be in different states right now. Maybe you want to see more use cases. Maybe you want to involve your colleagues before you do anything else. Maybe you are just curious whether this would fit in your specific case, or whether you want to understand what's actually next. Or maybe you're thinking, well, we need to build a business case internally. Or if you're simply just ready to get started, then my answer to all of these would be, let's have a call. Let's discuss your specific questions and your thoughts, and let's meet and discuss. So if you want to get in touch with me, and you can book directly in my calendar using this link. You can also find that link on getmirrix.com, where there's lots of book a demo. Those demo or those meetings are booked directly into my calendar, or you can just send me an email, martin@unitonmeasure.com. All right, we are running out of time. If there are anyone who has any questions, you are free to put them in the chat. And otherwise, if you have any questions, of course, you can still shoot me an email, contact me on LinkedIn, or send me an email, and I will answer all your questions. Yeah, I don't see any questions as such come in. So I think we will just end here. We are a little bit over time, but not too much. So thank you very, very much, everyone. I hope to talk to you soon, and thanks for attending. Thank you very much.